Now, a Hertfordshire woman who was told that she won't get any compensation for being given contaminated blood as a child, says she's hopeful that an inquiry into the scandal will eventually help her and others in the same situation. In the 70s and 80s, thousands of people were given blood products infected with hepatitis viruses and HIV. Today sees the start of the first of the preliminary hearings into what happened. The inquiry has already received over 100,000 documents, along with hundreds of witness statements. Now, Nicky Jones from St Albans is expected to give her statement and joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Nicky.
Good morning, Andy.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks
so, what happened to you?
I was diagnosed with having haemophilia about 1977 when I was about 7. My dad's a haemophiliac.
Mm-hmm.
As the years went on, I needed treatment for various things, like I broke my arm, tonsils and adenoids, tooth extractions. And at first I was treated with a product called Cryocypricate. And then it was about 1979, although we didn't know this, the treatment changed and it was changed to Factor VIII. From ever having that treatment, that's when my life kind of changed. I went from the average healthy running around child to a child that literally took to her bed, wasn't well. My parents were ignored. When they went to the hospital, they take me back and say, you know, she's not right, what's happened? The hospital denied there was anything wrong with me and said it was just my age. It was then in...
And that you would grow out of it, for one thing.
Yeah, they said I'd grow out. It was all in the mind. You know, basically my parents were called liars. You know, there's nothing wrong with her. And basically I was called a liar. I had skin rashes. I was just generally unwell. Really poorly, actually. Then it was about 1995. I kind of always spent most of my adult life then looking for answers as to why I felt so poorly. It was then documented on the news about this hepatitis C infection, and I happened to be having treatment at the hospital, and I said to the nurse, have I ever been tested for this hepatitis C? She said, oh, you won't have that. She laughed. She came back and she said, your medical records show you were positive. She said, you were positive in 1991. I never knew I'd been tested. I hadn't even been told that I had hepatitis C, nothing. It was then about 97, 98 where I was told that they think I'd naturally cleared hepatitis C, but it lays dormant in your body and they kind of can't tell you if it'll come back or
So if it hadn't been for the news, you could have lived your whole life without knowing you've been affected by this contaminated blood then?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I had joined a campaign group because I'd been searching for answers. And I guess through the years I'd missed out on everything else. I was aware of haemophiliacs with HIV. I was tested for HIV when I was 13. I was aware of that. Thankfully, that was absolutely fine. But what we didn't know, and that's for many of us, was hepatitis.
It's not you who's affected, isn't it? It's your family as well.
Yeah, it impacts on your whole family. Yeah, my parents, my children, my husband. It's had a massive impact on them as well. Yeah.
And just explain, if you can, this compensation, because why was it decided 3 years ago that you wouldn't get compensation?
It was actually 2004 when the Labour government brought in, it was the Skipton Fund, and there has never been any compensation awarded to anyone. It's ex gratia payment set up by the Labour Party, who would give small lump sums to individuals who were infected. I had all the evidence, the positive hepatitis C test. I met all the criteria, and the Skipton Fund denied my payment on the grounds that the doctor must have got it wrong.
I'm still trying to get my head around how, this happened in the 70s and 80s.
And I was 5 months pregnant when I was expecting my son, and I received a letter through the post telling me that I'm also high risk to CJD. and that I've had treatment from someone who has died from...
Because the UK imported supplies, and some turned out to be infected with hepatitis viruses and HIV. Much of the plasma used to make factor 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
Factor 8 came from donors like prison inmates in the US who sold their blood.
Yeah, in Skid Row. But it was also here in the UK as well. The blood was sourced from prisoners, high-risk donors, alcoholics, drug addicts and prostitutes. I think it's important to say with Factor 8, it's not just one person's blood. It was made up from 10 to 20,000 different people's bloods. So, of course, if you're having that one treatment...
And it's different now, isn't it? Because it's
synthetic now.
Made.
Yeah, synthetically made, yes. Yeah.
Are you hopeful that things might change for you when this inquiry goes through, evidence?
For me, it's about... truth and justice, and making sure those who are responsible face their victims. That's what I want.
You want your voice to be heard, really?
Well, absolutely, yeah. It's important that this never happens again, and assurances are put in place that it won't.
It's been such a long time coming. How do you stay, positive that this will give you the results that you're looking for?
I think it's the only hope we've got to cling on to, really. We've spent years campaigning. Andy Burnham last year, he was a big help with getting this, getting Theresa May to agree to the inquiry. And I think it is probably our last chance at this, really. It's important to say, when we say about figures, the 2,500 people that have died were just haemophiliacs. Obviously, there's more through whole bloods. It is really,
Today sees the start of the first of the preliminary hearings, I said. The inquiry's already received over 100,000 documents, and along with hundreds of witness statements already. You're going to be giving your statement.
Yes.
When will that appear in the inquiry?
I think we're looking about April time for...
April.
And
will you get to read it in person, or will it just be written?
I hope so, Andy. I've for decades my voice has been silenced because I'm female, and because mainly males suffer from haemophilia. So for all this, I do feel like I have been personally silenced.
I just find it amazing that you had no idea, and it wasn't until something was in the news that caught your attention that got the ball rolling. You know what I mean? I just find that...
I knew something wasn't right. My parents knew that something wasn't right as well.
Are your parents still with us, or have they?
Yeah, no, I've got both.
So, in a way, they must feel a little bit kind of justified. I knew that something was wrong. You know what I mean? I knew it. You know what I mean? That's because we always say on the show, as a parent, you know your child better than anybody else.
Absolutely.
And if you ain't, you know what I mean?
It was my mum that seen it on the news, and as soon as they listed the problems with Hep C, my mum straight away said, "Oh my God, that's her," and they were all the things that I displayed for years.
So you're hoping to speak out yourself at the inquiry?
Yes.
I mean, do you have to ask? Do they ask you?
I have put forward. Collins solicitors in Watford. They're sort of representing us, and I am. I mean, they're waiting for funding, but I am waiting to give my statement to them. They have called me, and I will be giving a statement, and then it's the hope that it is put forward to the inquiry, and I will be called. I
really, really appreciate you coming today and sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us this morning, and good luck with it all, and let's hopefully talk nearer the time, or when you get the green light, that you're going to be able to speak at the inquiry.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Andy.